morning, sir!
Stop calling me sir. What do you want, Mikhail?
I'm just fucking teasing you, man, because I'm bored. You used to live in England, didn't you? Eating your full English breakfast, drinking Darjeeling tea, scooting around in your Aston Martin, sipping martinis, mingling with high society. A regular James fucking Bond.
I ate porridge for breakfast, for Christ's sake.
Relax, I'm kidding. I did a piece of business with some Brits once. Good blokes. They drank Stolichnaya with Red Bull. Loopy fuckers.
Why are you wasting my time, Mikhail?
I knew a guy once, when I used to do business in Moscow. This guy wasn't a Brit, he was Scottish. I think his name was Daniel. He was absolutely fascinated by the Moscow sewers. Daniel was looking for a guide, so I took him on a tour of the underground. Told him some really top-drawer fucking tales. About nuclear bunkers under the Moskva River where Putin will hide when the zombie apocalypse comes. About the lizard people from Zeta Reticuli controlling the amount of sugar in your Starbucks coffee. He was a tad skeptical, though. Reminds me of you. And that worries me.
Why?
You've spent too much time in the rotten capitalistic West, comrade. You know what I mean. Anyway, I hope our humble way of life isn't too much of a shock for you.
Oh, trust me. I'll always be Ukrainian in my heart.
Great! I'll drink to that. Yeah, as soon as I find something better to drink, that is.
Mikhail, you've...
Perhaps a fuck-gathering in...
Actually...
Hello.
Olivier, something you wanted to talk about?
Someone. What do you make of this Tarakan guy?
I don't know yet. He's a very complicated personality.
Complicated, huh? That's a cute way to say insane.
Well, that certainly is a possibility. But he also knows a lot about NAR, the Shadows, and the incident. Maybe even more than we do. We cannot ignore that.
You think his grotesque costume, the fetishes, and manic blathering are some kind of act?
Maybe. Maybe he's just got an overdeveloped sense of humor or something.
Fuck his sense of humor. Over the many years I've spent in the field, I've developed a kind of sixth sense. A gut feeling about people. Right now, my gut is telling me there's something sketchy about this guy.
Maybe your gut is just hungry. Did you consider that?
I'm glad your sense of humor is intact, Kiminyuk. But if Tarakan endangers our mission in any way, I hope you kick his shaggy, shamanic ass out of our base.
I just remembered something, Mousy.
What is it? More rat stories or history lessons?
A cautionary tale. A wise mousey can always find a tasty bit of cheese, if he's smart. But take care that the cheese isn't poisoned or sitting in a trap. You never know what you might find.
What are you talking about?
Ozesk, 1957. Kapow! Evil rats were stirring the pot, trying to stick their ugly little snouts where they shouldn't.
Yes, I remember reading about that. It was a chemical explosion, right? Huge quantities of cesium-137 and strontium-90 were released into the atmosphere. Wasn't that classified?
While you were reading about it, my mother had to live through it. The placid Teka River, so beautiful this time of the year. But after the boom, so poisonous.
Yes, one of many regrettable failures.
No, Mousy. What you call failure, I call a deliberate plan of the Rat King. He lured the silly little mouses with a chunk of smelly yet delicious cheese. But it was poisoned. And the cheese you are looking for may be poisoned as well, even if it looks delicious.
So be very careful, little mouse. Whenever you sense these machinations in the shadows, you can be sure that the Rat King has a part in it.
I'll keep it in mind. Thanks.
Do you have a moment?
What's on your mind, Olga?
I was thinking about an old woman I used to know, Alina. She lived in our village. She had so many stories to share. About the revolution of 1917, collectivization, the Great Famine, Nazi tanks rolling through the marshes, her husband dying in the Great Patriotic War, persecution by the NKVD, the Chernobyl disaster.
Fascinating. She must have been at least 100 years old.
She was very old indeed. Nothing could shake her. She never stopped wandering the woods and marshes of Pripyat, gathering herbs and mushrooms. Until the lurkers killed her. Such a pointless death.
I'm sorry. She must have been a very brave woman.
I asked her once, what kept her going through all those dark years? Do you know what she said? I wanted to live. It was as simple as that. Life is precious, and you only get to go around once. So I want to make mine count. Do you understand? I'm not dying because of a stupid mistake.
Hopefully we can avoid that, and you'll lead a long and productive life once we're finished here.
Well, as my stepdad Matvey would say, nobody wants to exit the stage, but everyone does, eventually.
Hey there, old-timer. What's cooking?
Nothing much. I need to remember to check the dosimeters.
Ain't radiation a stone-cold bitch? That raggedy-ass old man, the other one, I mean, was rambling about it not too long ago.
About what?
About Pripyat being contaminated even before the Chernobyl disaster. You're a scientist. Is there any truth to it?
Tarakan may not be the most reliable source of information in the zone, but in this case, he might be right.
Explain.
For starters, the choice of Pripyat as a location for a nuclear power plant was a mistake.
Was it? It's fairly secluded. Nothing but woods and swamps. Perfect spot to keep things secret.
Swamps, exactly. Swampland is very poor in certain minerals and elements. Same goes for the vegetation in this whole area. Because of this, the local plants absorb pretty much everything very quickly. Even if it's poisonous, like, for example, the radioactive isotope of iodine. Also, both the Soviet Union and some NATO countries have been testing nuclear weapons like crazy since the 50s, pushing millions of tons of radioactive fallout into the atmosphere.
Right, I watched something about that on YouTube. Castle Bravo, Tsar Bomber, serious shit.
And it only intensified leading up to 1963. The nuclear players wanted to conduct as many tests as possible before the PTBT came into effect.
PTBT?
The Partial Test Ban Treaty, an agreement between the USSR and the West that nuclear testing should be conducted underground only. But hundreds of nuclear explosions had already polluted the atmosphere all over the world, including over Chernobyl. If someone had bothered to take a Geiger reading of the marshes around Pripyat before building the power plant, they'd have found out it was already irradiated.
Unfucking believable.
Igor, I've got to talk to you. Some serious shit is about to go down.
What is it this time?
One of the big fish is flying into Kapachi. We have a chance to intercept him. We have to act on this intel now.
Who is this big fish, anyway?
No idea, but it's got to be one of NAR's top people. A real 100,000 ruble suit type.
That's not much to go on. Could just be a waste of time.
It is 100% worth a shot. Imagine what kind of intel we can squeeze out of this guy. Just go over there and check it out for yourself, okay? I know a good vantage point.
All right. But let's make one thing clear first. I'll do the talking. I've got a feeling this big fish might not survive your squeezing.
Sure. Whatever you say, boss. I'll mark the location on your map.
Everyone, it's time to hit the power plant. We all know it's not going to be easy. We tried before, and not everyone made it. But this time we're smarter and better prepared. I know we can do this. We have to do this. It's the only way we can find Tatiana and end NAR.
Mousy, you're talking about striking at the heart of the Rat King. But have you learned everything possible about his plans?
I have evidence that NAR was conducting Chernobylite experiments back in the 90s. Tatiana and her baby were two of their subjects. With the rate at which their technology is progressing, soon, nothing will be able to stop them. We must act now.
What about that black mask-wearing motherfucker? Have you identified him?
No, but who cares? When we cross paths, we'll take him out. End of story.
Do you know what NAR is actually doing at the power plant? Why is it so important? And what does it have to do with Tatiana?
Unfortunately, I couldn't uncover all the details. But we know enough. We stick together, follow the plan, and everything will sort itself out in the end. I'm sure of it.
I like the pep talk, Professor. I think you even gave me a bit of a job. But do we have the right tools for the job?
I couldn't get everything I wanted. But we've all been through so much, I'm sure we can improvise if the need arises. This is much bigger than anything any of us has done before. If you want to back out, this is your chance.
One organization holding this much power is against everything I believe in. And besides, this is personal for me. Count me in.
You know how I feel. The Rat King must be stopped at all costs, Mousy. I'm in.
Igor, you know I always have your back, but this is insane. This mission needs more preparation. I can't support a plan that doesn't have my full confidence.
This is bullshit. You're asking us to walk blindly into something that could very well be a trap. Oh, why didn't you prepare better?
Well, I'm always down for some action. But I'm not suicidal, friendo. Your plan sucks balls.
It's your choice if you don't want to help. I can't force you. I appreciate your trust. We can't count on the element of surprise, but we know enough about NAR's vulnerabilities to make this work. Time and again, NAR has shown they would rather capture than kill me. We can use this to our advantage. We'll dress somebody up as an NAR officer, escorting a prisoner. Me. That's our ticket inside. We only have one NAR uniform, and it's male. Any volunteers?
You should take someone who can keep his cool when things go sideways, as they inevitably do. Trust me on that.
NAR must have upgraded its digital defense perimeter and surveillance system by now. A skillful hacker should be able to at least temporarily disable them.
I'm your man, Mousy. The great Ratcatcher has blessed me with a knack for that kind of thing. Electronics, surveillance, computers. There's no one better than me.
I need someone to cover our asses in case we end up in the shit. Someone who can take down a target from a distance, or at least create a diversion.
Firearms are my preferred method of solving problems, but I can definitely distract them.
Last but not least, a spy. I want someone to monitor NAR activities and keep us informed about their moves.
I know the power plant like a boy knows the woods behind his house. Let me take care of it.
Does everyone know what to do? Last chance to reconsider. I thought it through, and we're not ready yet.